Ichimonji. Hmm. Can't see that name without thinking Kamen Rider 2. This is recording just fine, eh? Yeah, seems so. Excellent. Quite like Kamen Rider. It's a fun show. Very campy. Quite enjoyable. If you don't know what Kamen Rider is, it's a tokusatsu. Uh, I've also heard another phrase thrown around for it, Henshin Hero. But tokusatsu is the more common one. From what I've seen, that refers to the camera work. But in the West, if, you've probably seen Power Rangers. It's basically that. Though Kamen Rider is older than Power Rangers. It's senior. I, I did grow up watching it. Growing up watching Power Rangers. I liked the Lightspeed Rescue. They had like an underwater base. I remember thinking that it was really cool. I actually remember having a Megazord when I was a kid, and I like played with it a bit and just terrified the shit out of one of our cats. Like we were in the kitchen and the cat was by the back door, like a few feet away from me, 5 feet away from me, and my nan was there. I think she was either near the back door, and Mum was near me, or it was the other way around. Nan was near me and Mum was by the back door. But I was playing with it and it was like really cool. I was thinking it was really cool. It had a little cable to it connected to the controller, and you'd like hit buttons on it and it would do different things and play sound effects. Terrified the shit out of poor Tommy. He ended up running running up the wall the height of the back door. Poor cat. But never ended up playing it with it much. I got distracted pretty easy. But yeah, I did like Power Rangers as a kid, but I did grow out of it and whatnot. But yeah, if you have which one's which again? Um, I've forgotten what I'm saying. Oh yeah, I've fuck. Yeah, I watched. I did watch a bit of Power Rangers growing up, but once they Kamen Rider, well, it's campy. It's a show from the 70s, 80s. It is campy. It is darker than what I remember of seeing Power Rangers in Kamen Rider X3. In X3, you see kids mind controlled throwing themselves off buildings. They slap off the ground. Obviously, it's cheap, like, you know, it's not like it's gore and viscera everywhere or something. It's just kids like flopping on the ground. But if I saw that when I was a kid, I would have been horrified. Oh God, that kid just killed himself. I'd have been horrified. As a kid, you fill in the gaps. You don't need, the best looking shit to be believable to you. You don't. You can fill in the gaps just fine yourself. So it's just like, seems there was. I've seen some clips recently. It seems there was indeed deaths in Power Rangers, just none that I remembered. None that stuck with me. Um, but yeah, the characters die quite liberally in the Kamen Rider series. they had a reboot or like a reintroduction to people because it went off the air for years. Kuga, and men, women, kids, everyone was dying in that. Most of it, the deaths happen off screen, but there was like a news announcement like 3,000 have died, um, and one of the villains was like wiped out a high school class, including driving a few to suicide, which was actually a negative for him. But yeah, again, it's cheap, can't be fun. But then there's just like, oh yeah, here's a few kids jumping off a building. It's, I don't know, it's just not what I expected. Like I said, I grew up. Oh, Ichimonji. Warrior, it seems. Could be rogue. Probably warrior. But I grew up watching Power Rangers, and I was saying like I didn't remember any deaths in it, and it was clean, fun. It was kid friendly now, and kid friendly there. Different things, because like the demographic they're selling to, they had kids on screen slapping off the ground of the demographic they're selling to. So it's just like, my God. Jesus Christ. Again, I'm not saying it's some dark, edgy show or something like that. It's a lot rougher than I expected. Like I said, I grew up seeing Power Rangers. No one dies. It's all very safe. But here it's father and daughter are finally reunited. Then he gets a comically large axe buried in his spine, and he dies in her arms. Here's a guy. He gets melted to death through his taxi. Uh, these random people are in a swimming pool. They're now floating face down. These people all collapse in the street, sniped through the fucking heart. This guy got gored and smashed to death against a tunnel wall. It's rougher than I expected. I expected, like I said, cheap, campy, fun, clean stuff, like kid friendly, but it's rougher than I expected. Like I had a vision of the series, of the genre, of the thing, and it went against it so much that it's like a modifier in a game. Your attack may do 10 to 15, but this enemy's weak to that element, so it's doing more. In this case, it's not that I'm weak to it, but I expect it different, and the difference from the expectation made it more effective. But yeah, Kamen Rider, what's it about? The first Kamen Rider is sets on a guy called Hongo, who has really ridiculous stats as a person. He's an accomplished motorbike rider, but he's also a scientist with like 600 IQ. It's something like ridiculous. He's chosen by a Nazi, like straight out Nazi organization, to be a new cyborg. They've modified his body and are about to mind control him, but it fails because one of their captives shorted out the whole power grid. So while they go off to deal with that, the captive breaks into him, and they get out together. And he takes up the mantle of Kamen Rider to fight Shocker. The manga handles it a bit differently to the show. In the show, he henshins and he suddenly is Kamen Rider in the suit. But in the manga, the suit is actually something he wears to hide his scars. When he gets agitated, like he's pissed at like whatever antics Shocker's up to now, his scars across his body start showing. The Kamen Rider manga is not something you give to a kid. You show them the show, not the manga. Like in the manga for Amazon, guy gets bored alive. Kamen Rider cuts him out, but the guy like bleeds out there on the ground. There's tons of, blood and shit. Not literal shit, but the guy bleeds out right there. But yeah, there's a difference between the manga and the show. The manga is a darker thing. The show is more kid-friendly, but still surprisingly dark. These are coming true. Nice. Given that these sold, I may be able to. Wait, 50. Oh, I thought that said seconds for a moment. Oh, excuse me. I was going to say I might be able to buy, finish those upgrades. Finish leveling up my blacksmithing to go get it, but probably not. But anyway, what was I saying? So yeah, he more stuff happens, but he takes up the mantle of Kamen Rider to fight Shocker and fight the good fight. A recurring character in the show for the first 6 riders is a guy called Tobei Tachibana. Love the character. I don't know what it was about him, but he has this almost like Bruce Campbell energy about him. I'm not sure, was it the facial expressions, the something, but I just ended up seeing Japanese Bruce Campbell, or you watch Evil Dead, you see American Akiji Kobayashi. That's the actor's name for Tachibana. I don't know why, but just something about him made me think of him. Keep in mind, my frame of reference for him, for the other guy, is his role as Sam Axe. That's the most Bruce Campbell I've ever seen. I don't know, it's just something about his face. It's just something about him made me think of Bruce Campbell. Mum sees it too, so it's not just me, but... But, he's Hongo's mentor figure. He's the guy who taught him how to ride a bike. He's also a trainer for the riders. I'm not sure how he figures shit out, but he is giving them advice on how to fight, and they apply this to different fights they're having difficulties with. In one case, he just hits the guy with a wrecking ball. It was the rider's suggestion, and he's horrified at it, but he gets behind the wheel and does what he has to do. The enemy kind of turns into a ball and flings itself at him with devastating strength. A wrecking ball is about the same thing, so... But yeah, the Hongo takes up the mantle of Kamen Rider to fight the good fight. But I mentioned there were Kamen Rider 2. Most of the riders have a distinctive name, X Tree, Amazon, Stronger. They are Kuga. They have distinctive names, but there's Kamen Rider 1 and Kamen Rider 2, because for the first 9 episodes, Hongo does his own stunts. The guy for Hongo does his own stunts. But when they were recording episode 10, the stunt went wrong, and he broke his own leg. He broke his leg. So, as opposed to someone else, in Nantucket's leg, that would be one hell of an accident. How far would that bike have had to go? But, he injures his leg, and he's out for the next 30, 40 episodes. They have someone else fill in for him for an episode or two, but then it's just oh, hi, I'm a guy Hongo rescued from Shocker. They were about to turn me into a cyborg, or mind control me. He's very much the same kind of backstory as Hongo, and a very similar kind of suit. But he is his own kind of character. He's a bit more, roguish. Ichimonji. So yeah, and they bring him in, and they also bring in a apparent old friend of. I think he was maybe an old friend of Hongo. Uh, what's his face? This is annoying me now. I can't remember what he's fucking called. Taki. Taki. They bring in him as well. Since they lost Hongo, they had to bring in a new rider and a new support crew guy to make up for it. But even after Hongo comes back, Taki's a frequent recurring character. Well, sorry, no, Taki's pretty much a constant. He's out for a few episodes, but he's pretty much there the whole time. With Ichimonji turning up once in a while after Hongo fully returns. But yeah, it's all about like Monster of the Week and them fighting their way through the Monster of the Week and then the different like generals of Shocker. Um, and that's kind of a recurring theme for most of the shows that I've seen so far. It's like a different evil organization arises. The it would be cute if they edited this one since I'm playing with a controller. It's still AFK, but they spell controller with a K. That would be cute. But yeah, basically, I'm getting too. Can I be honest? I'm shit at describing shows. So basically, it's people turned into cyborgs, uh, typically by the evil organization themselves, but not always, fighting the good fight against some like evil organization or whatever. In the first one, they're literally Nazis. They're like trying to like find like Hitler's lost treasure in one episode. Um, but in others, they're just like one dude's a demon. You know, they're just evil pricks. So it's like Monster Week, but then they also build up like different generals up, like the generals dispatch monsters and eventually take to the field themselves, kind of thing. It's all campy. A lot of the fight scenes are recorded in the same quarries or whatnot, but it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable, and there's kind of a realness to it. Like I was just like, you see the suits getting dirty, you see like maybe sweat on people, or like there's something different to it than you see a modern show where everyone is different. It's there's some different essence to it. It's kind of charm. It's kind of charming. But yeah, it's there. If you've seen Power Rangers, it's very much similar kind of thing. But fuck, I'm terrible at this. I feel kind of bad, honestly. Um, ooh. But sorry, I'll get back to playing now in a second. It's just like I'm kind of caught in a mental loop, and it's really fucking annoying. And it's just like, describe it right, damn you, you fucker. And it's just like, I don't know how. I get kind of caught up on random details, and I kind of keep expanding upon them. Then it feels wrong. But yeah, like Hongo is turned into a cyborg by Shocker, but they don't get to mind control him, so he's gonna fight the good fight against him. Early on, they kind of emphasize his loneliness because he can't control his cyborg strength, but they kind of stop really talking about that later on. It's after a few episodes early on, and then when Hongo's starting to come back, they talk about him being the loneliest man, but then that's the end of it. There was a bit of it for Kamen Rider X early on, but then he gets over it, or it's just not brought up again. His father was a bastard. Well, no, he doesn't mind control the guy. He upgrades the guy. They both are nearly die. The son is out cold. The father is dying. He upgrades him into a cyborg, then passes away. The guy wakes up. His father's dead, or they get to have a final conversation. But he's brought to an underwater base where the father's alive as a machine. He ends up coming back there later on to talk to him because a lot of people started treating him like shit for being a machine, and he's like, "Ah, you're weak," and he suicides. The father literally blows himself up. Just like, give the guy 5 minutes to get used to being made of metal, you jackass. He was one hell of a drama queen. Gonna be honest. But yeah, there's, like I was saying, like, not that everyone's like upgraded by the evil organization, kidnapped and upgraded. Sometimes it's like, like they're in Kamen Rider X. It's, we got attacked by them, and this is the only way I can save you. And that was the same for Kamen Rider X3. It was the same for X3. Ichimonji and Hongo had to upgrade him. But yeah. I'm annoyed at myself. I went on a huge rant on there about Kamen Rider. I might leave it in. Probably will. Basically, all I'm trying to say in it was, like, I ended up talking about the show there, and I was trying to find a way of describing it, but I end up in general terms. But I end up getting too caught up with details. The general idea of it is, like, people are upgraded one way or the other through finding an ancient artifact, through being upgraded by random dude, by their father, by being upgraded by the evil Nazi organization that they later try to beat the shit out of. Basically, like, they'll be kidnapped by them, try to be turned into monsters, be upgraded, but not turned into not mind controlled, so they get to go rogue, and then use their newfound power to fight the organization. Like the evil goons in the first series were outright Nazis. They were like trying to find Hitler's treasure and stuff like this. But excuse me. So yeah, typical thing I've seen so far, I'm up to Skyrider, is they get upgraded one way or the other. They fight monsters of the week. They're all trying out different schemes. Like, one was making kids jump off building, believe they could fly using a magic like tablecloth or something. They couldn't fly. They fell to their deaths and slapped off the ground. The reason why they're doing this, I'm not sure I should say, it's kind of spoilery. They're trying to mess with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They're trying to mess with this one guy. He was like running this program to make kids extra smart, and by systematically killing each of these kids, they would break the guy and be able to hire him. So they would have uber intelligent troopers then. He would happily apply his learned teachings, the stuff he's learned, to their troops or to their personnel. Or another week, I'm trying to think of them. We'll jump to Kuga. Each of the monsters are given a task in Kuga tailored to them. It's to kill. Each of it's to kill people, but they have to kill people in particular ways. It's a game to them, and games are bound by rules. So, like, one person has to kill the students in a class, in a particular high school. The students of a particular high school class, in a particular way. Killing anyone else doesn't count. If they kill themselves, it doesn't count. So, yeah. He has to attack them, and then 3 days later they die to an incurable ailment. the metal spikes through their brains. Um, in most of them, it's like run by like an evil organization. So they like there's the leader, then there's generals or commanders, and the commanders send out monsters of the week, and before eventually taking to the field themselves. One of the best generals is General Shadow. He's fucking awesome. Like half the time he ends up working with Kamen Rider because he wants to screw over people on his own side. He's Stronger's enemy. That's it. He ends up working out with Stronger just to screw over his own side. They also entirely forgot about the concept of wearing a cup, so he just like walks in and you see his crotch bulge right through his fucking suit. Adds hilarity to some scenes, as like there'll be another guy called Titan. He's kneeling down, and it's this like grey-skinned head. It kind of almost looks like stone, but it's like ton of eyes over it, or one eye over it, depending on the iteration. In one scene, anyway, he's kneeling down. It's actually funny. One of Titan's attacks involves him like pulling the eye off, throwing it at them, but then there's another eye underneath. It's funny. I think that's how it went anyway. It's been far too long since I've seen it. But he's kneeling down, talking to the leader. Shadow walks in, stands right next to him. Crotch right on level with his eye. They've done that a few times, forgetting to have actors wear a cup while wearing skin-tight suits. It's kind of funny, honestly. And the amount of times Hongo runs around with his shirt half open. How in one of, I think it was for Kamen Rider 3, in the movie episode, he fights against it could have been V3 or Kamen Rider X. They're fighting against an enemy in like a dock area, and he's thrown into the water, and in the grappling the enemy like pulls his shirt half open, so he ends up doing an unwilling Hongo. But yeah, Shadow was fun. He's this guy in a white suit with like a fishbowl on and like Jokerish makeup on. Well, maybe not Joker, but vaguely clownish, maybe. I don't know how do you describe it. It's been far too long since I've seen it as well, so it's a bit hazy. But he's got a really like he's got a silly design, but he's a really fun character. I love him. He's fantastic. Apparently he comes back later on in a new series, but I don't know what he's like at all. I've just seen a gif of him playing cards with other people, and that's actually his method of attack. He's like Trump shot, and he like throws an explosive card at people, or Trump fade, throws his cards and vanishes. He's fun, honestly. But yeah, it's typically like, you know, them fighting monsters a week. They get up to different schemes before the general takes the field, before they have to fight the leader. And often they end up trying to like teach a lesson to kids or sell merchandise to kids. But it's still just a fun show. It's really well done. I love Kamen Rider Amazon, because he's just a wild man that literally starts like biting and ripping his enemies apart. It's kind of fun to see. I was talking about the manga in the earlier bit. It's a lot more adult than the show. Well, the show can have dark elements, like kids throwing themselves off buildings and you see them slap off the ground. It may be campy 70s acting, but you still see them slap off the ground, and as a kid you would, oh my god, that kid killed themselves. You know, they died. You know. God, I've been sitting here like 20 minutes. Sometimes I have to stop playing to focus on what I'm saying, or I keep losing my thoughts. Even these asides cause me to lose my track. Yeah, the manga is even more dark. Like, the suit Hongo wears is not like when he henshins and he's Kamen Rider and he's got the suit on in the show. That's actually a literal suit in the manga. That's not something he just suddenly transforms into. That's a literal suit, because underneath, when he gets like enraged at what Shocker does, all his surgery scars kind of start appearing across his body, and he rather hates them. So he wears the suit to hide who he is and what's been done to him. So, I'm losing my train of fucking thought. Yeah, he wears, in the manga, he wears the suit as a deliberate choice to hide his surgery scars, to hide what he's become, to hide himself, rather than just transforming into it. It's actually a separate thing. Um, they in Amazon, the manga, they go to a guy to get information, but as he's talking, a monster bursts through the window, eats him alive. Amazon transforms, cuts him out, but the guy bleeds out on the ground. Amazon just staggers outside, moaning like, will he ever actually be able to talk to people without them just dying on him? And just, cursing his fate. I can't quite remember the phrasing. They go to rescue Tachibana, and he looks a lot different from the show version. And he's getting attacked by another monster. Amazon's pissed at this point. He just grabs it with his bare hands without transforming, ripping it apart. It's fucking awesome. But yeah, the manga is certainly darker than the show. The Kuga manga, which is not wrote by Shinomori, came out more recently, like 10 years after his death. Or if not, a little more. It's very different to the Kuga show. While it has same characters and same ideas, they add things to it. Like the detective body of Kuga having a sister. She was in a terrible attack and has been turned into a childlike state. Kuga, his family has a farm. Or Gadai, his family has a farm. And that they spend some time on. It's not just a cafe. And to say about the dark element of it, the cop, when he's being introduced into the show, is introduced into the manga, is tracking down a killer, a human killer, not one of the monsters of the week. This guy is worshipping a random bit of wood, some random fetish of his, and turns people into living fireworks. He doses them up with gunpowder, lights them on fire, and has their heads explode. Does it on firework night. Guy tries to escape by biting his tongue out. The detective uses his own mouth to pull it out. The guy's kind of cracked. So, yeah. Like, the shows may be a little, like, surprisingly dark for, again, like I went in with preconceived notions, and since they went against it, it seems all the more jarring, The stuff itself may not be particularly, grandiose, but since it went against the image, it just feels all the more, But... Jesus, I've been talking here too long. Maybe I'll make this a separate video. A part A. I could do that. But, fuck. Yeah, the shows may have got, they are kid-friendly. They may have gone against my expectations, but they are kid-friendly. Maybe a little dark or, rough, but it depends on the episode, and still it is very campy. The mangas definitely wouldn't be kid-friendly, different demographics. Anyway, I'll stop here to make it easier for me to segment them around.